What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if the jury will buy Amber's story. Now, I thought this would be kind of a fun video to do on the weekend. I'm a little bit more energized now that today, Friday, when I'm recording, I don't have to watch the trial. I need a break, and we need this upcoming week to kind of just take a breather and then watch Amber get destroyed next week and the week after, and hopefully, Johnny wins. So, in terms of the jury, well, obviously that's the big question, right? The scary thing is this, and this obviously very much is talking about her story when she was up on the stand, Thursday, Wednesday, and then even on Monday. I imagine the first couple hours still have to be the direct, because you still have to talk about her birthday. You have to talk about the breakup. You have to talk about the divorce. You have to talk about the restraining order. You have to talk about breaking the restraining order, and you have to talk about the op-ed. You have to talk about five, and maybe I'm missing a couple, so maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 different topics. Each of them takes maybe 10, 20 minutes to do. I mean, you're looking at till lunch. Now, I believe it starts actually at 9 a.m., so that'll be kind of interesting that it's actually even earlier. I'm not even up is it 7 o'clock my time? I don't wake up that early, so we'll see how I even catch that stuff up. Maybe I'll just skip that stuff altogether. Okay, the question is, does the jury buy it? Well, it sucks because when you go online, and TikTok, I'm not a big fan of TikTok in general, but TikTok, for the purposes of this trial, is kind of legendary. They're kind of like the greatest thing of all time, where they are able to, I'll watch the trial for 7 hours, and then, the whole day. And then my wife will come home from work, and she'll have seen parts of it, and then she'll go on TikTok, and she'll see all these, and I'll listen, because I'll be, sitting right next to her, and there'll just be all these people kind of breaking down even some of the stuff that I didn't notice. And that's awesome. A lot of that stuff I think actually goes a long way. But again, the jury doesn't see it. The stuff that's, I guess the thing that's tough is this. You need to be able, and Johnny's side should easily be able to do this. You need to poke holes in her argument or in her stories, because while we look at her as just, an evil person, these stories are clearly, fake. She adds news. We make the joke. She's got this canon, and then an established canon, and then she adds lore to it over time, right? She just kind of adds stories as she goes. The bottle story was very graphic, and it was easily when she seemed the most upset, because it wasn't real, but and the event itself wasn't real, right? But it was new. We never heard that story before. The Russia plane incident, we never heard that story. So there's a couple stories that we've never heard before, and they're there for a purpose. They're there because, and some of these stories, I'm gonna be interested to see how you poke holes, because they very much are he said, she said. Now, I think it's pretty easy, right? She talks about the bottle being, shoved. And again, I don't want to say specific words. I also want to be delicate, because I'm sure there's people that have actually gone through that stuff that probably hate Amber for making stuff like that up, right? And it's well, that's a very graphic story. Does the jury buy it? I'd like to believe the answer is no. Here's what I'm kind of disgusted at, right? Is people that were saying, and I guess I understand it, people that said, Wednesday, Thursday were horrible days for Johnny Depp. Amber gave Oscar-worthy. Amber can't act, okay? Wednesday, Thursday, and this is just my opinion. You got to preface everything with that. I thought it was horrible for her, because she's introducing these stories that don't have any merit. And I mean, there's no tears, and then on Thursday she learned a little, right? She talked to the PR team, but then she's taking photo ops while she's blowing her nose and all this stuff. It's all there. Now, again, does the jury pick up on that? Well, in my opinion, all it takes is for the jury to see one or two things. I really don't think it's that difficult. When you have somebody who just makes up stories like Amber, if you can poke a hole in one, you can then, I believe, make the argument that the whole thing kind of falls apart. Do you know what I mean? And that's not necessarily true. And from a legal perspective, that's not necessarily true, or it's not true at all. But from just your raw emotion, and that's what jury members go off of. They don't care about the what Roddenborn wants them to care about, the very specifics of defamation. They care about the emotion. Did she actually do this stuff or did he do this stuff to her, or is she a liar? And if they believe one or the other, that's going to win the case. That is how it is. I truly believe that. And when you have Johnny going up, and for the first 2.5 weeks, again, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not idiots, right? Because you've heard all of his side, and then you hear her tell her story, and it's I guess you don't want to immediately believe him if you're really trying to be right down the middle. You don't immediately want to believe him, but the thing is, he had all the evidence. He had all the proof. He had all the witnesses that actually were around that said nothing happened. And then she goes up and tells just the exact opposite story. And then people say it was a bad day for Johnny Depp, that the jury's going to eat that stuff up. I mean, I'm sure there maybe are some people in the world that'll eat that stuff up, but I really pray and hope that the jury are not idiots. They're not literally morons, because you look at what's happened, and it's like the story is so obviously different than anything else. And even without Johnny's side even going yet, even without their help, because they're obviously going to start poking holes. Okay, you had a bottle shoved up there. Well, that is intensely painful. And by the way, you said you didn't even feel pain. You weren't thinking about pain. Are you nuts? Are you crazy? Also, you think you would go to the hospital for that, or you think you go to the hospital for, you said he threw like 50 bottles and you had your feet all cut up. Where's any proof? Did you pick out glass from your feet? Did you take pictures? Also, you like to take pictures of him when he's sleeping, but you never took a picture of yourself during these injuries, right? None of them. You never, this robe that he ripped and he shredded to pieces. Where's the picture of it? You like to take pictures when he's sleeping, but not of the actual evidence? That seems kind of odd. And again, you poke holes just one at a time, and any one of those holes, honestly, I think is enough to deflate the whole argument. Because it's like, well, if she's lying about one, she very much is lying about them all. Like it's not even that big of a leap to assume that. So again, that's all, in my opinion, the jury has to see is one lie, one, I guess major, it'd have to be kind of major, right? One major lie where it's like, oh, you cut off his finger. Now again, and I think people may be discounting that. Say they just bought that she cut off his finger. That's it. In fact, even in her story, she didn't even mention his finger, which I think is actually a huge mess up, because I thought I don't know the original story, and it obviously changes so much, but I thought she was there when he cut the finger off. But in her story, his finger was still there. She went to sleep. She took pills to knock herself out. She woke up a couple hours later, and there was blood everywhere, and that's when and she knew he lost his finger. So like, I don't remember that being. I don't know. I don't know the timeline because it's so confusing. That's again up to Johnny's team to just kind of poke at it. It's a lie though. Like the whole thing is a lie. So, but if you believe just that she cut the finger off, and then you hear her side of things in which he's throwing 50 bottles and she's slipping on wine and getting glass shoved up her foot. You know what I mean? It's like one of those is wrong. And if you believe the finger thing from Johnny, you're not going to believe anything she said. So she can try all she wants. And again, like that, is that wishful thinking? It is, but it's also like anybody with a brain. Again, all you need to do is find one thing wrong with it. Just one simple thing. The campfire story. Where's any of the witnesses, right? And again, maybe the jury's not smart enough to put that together. That's up to Johnny's side to say, okay, well, you say all this stuff. Well, what was that person's name that put their, because you don't even know her name. So who was that? Can you say it? Also, do you have anybody there that can come up here to say? Now, I don't know if you're even allowed to word it like that, but how you have to bring that up, right? Is there anybody to back up your story? Or is it just your word against not just his? Because that's not, again, like the whole he said, she said thing, I don't think is actually true. It's she said versus him and everybody around him. His agents, his bodyguards, and again, it sucks that you can't bring in, like his daughter obviously would be pretty good. His former exes, they're literally his exes. So they obviously had something that broke them up. And yet they still all love him, like, kind of deep down, like they have a love for him, and they know that he's not a bad man, and they know that he never did that with them. And again, you have to think about that too. Somebody as honestly as evil as Amber describes Johnny as being, if that is what actually happened, it's an evil person. Do you just start that when you're like 52, 53, or would you have done that your entire life? Obviously, you would have done, and where's any evidence that he's done it throughout all of his career? Where is it? It's what he said. He had 30, 35 years of nothing. Everything was good. No, there was hit pieces on him. Like, when you're one of the biggest people in Hollywood, you're gonna have hit pieces. But and then when he meets Amber, all of a sudden everything falls apart, and it's his fault. No, it sounds like it would be then Amber's fault. And so again, any of those just easy things that kind of just pop up, all it takes is one of those to stick to the jury. And it's over, in my opinion. Hopefully, obviously a lot of stipulations to it, but I don't know. I really hope they're not buying the story. I obviously didn't buy the story. They were detailed, but again, even some of it, she she knows very specific things, and then sometimes she completely forgets everything. And isn't that again, and I hope they pick up on this goddamn stuff. Dr. Curry literally predicted, because she actually did the tests that actually show who Amber is. She predicted exactly how Amber acts. She's going to adopt stories from other people, adopt mentalities of other people. She adopts the mentality of the victim, which is and she said that. And it's so easy to see Amber doing that. She literally used Johnny's stories of her leaving, even though you have on video recording. And again, these are all things the jury heard this stuff already. So you just got to remember it. That's all. When she's saying, oh, I always tried to leave. I tried to get out. Oh, well, that's odd, because in the one video recording, you made fun of him for leaving, and you said to not leave, but yet you left, so that doesn't really add up with any, because you also said you stay, so that doesn't make sense either. So, it's like, that's it. It's just the one thing. So, Dr. Curry says this kind of stuff, that she's going to adopt personalities, that she'll tell very vivid recollections, basically, of an event, but she's got the surrounding stuff is completely blank. That's exactly. Amber knows, well, there was a fight in which he shoved me into a fridge and all this kind of stuff. Oh, but, there were so many fights like that. I don't remember which one we're talking about right now, but let me just give you a generality. And it probably happened that day, most likely. That's exactly what she said. That's exactly what she said would happen. She doesn't know dates. She doesn't know what happened. She knows specifically the actions he did on her, but that's it. That's it. And if you talk to look at what this has done in terms of people that are actual victims that have actually been through this stuff on social media. People come forward every single day to say, hey, I was in these situations. She's a goddamn liar. People are showing their black eye bruises, and they are 1,000 times worse than Amber's. People showed their broken nose, which is not even close to what Amber's look like, right? You're having people speak up every day. You're not going to remember everything in these situations, but when you go, and again, this is coming from someone who hasn't gone through it, but I've seen so many people that have talked about it. When you go through that stuff, that's not, the remembering that she's doing is not how it works. It's not. Looking at people in the way that she is, the way she kind of goes in and out of emotions is not how any of that stuff works. And again, it just takes one of those things where it's like, oh, she's crying. She's crying more about the dress than when he beat her. He beat her. He punched her. One of the things I found so hilarious was when she said one of the fights, when he was like on top of her and he punched her in the back of the head multiple times, and she again didn't feel pain. It's like, how hard is he hitting you where you in the back of your head where you don't feel any pain, or that he had his knee on her back or something and she couldn't breathe? It's like, what are you talking about? Just one of those stories. He punched you in the back of the head repeatedly and you didn't feel pain. Okay, kind of weird. Also, and not even, maybe you don't, because maybe you kind of like block it out. I could understand that, possibly. I'm sure some people have gone through that. But you didn't get a medical record to show anything. There's no proof. Nobody was around. So then it is just her word against his. But again, the thing with the whole Me Too and the whole like backing up your claims, or like believing the victim or whatever, you need to have some sort of evidence. You do. I understand people that have been in these situations. Just find like a shred of proof and I'll believe you. But it's like Amber has nothing, where it's like, okay, you beat the back of your head, routinely, and you don't feel pain. Like, go prove it somehow. Go to the doctor the next day. He's not going to stop you from going to the doctor. You don't even see each other every day. Go get the record. Take a picture of yourself. Go get do a concussion test, which she said she did over the phone. Do something to show it. You know what I mean? And don't show the one picture of your arm, because that's not a real bruise. And also, people are kind of putting together her hair was not that dark at any point when she was with Johnny Depp. It actually seems like that was an old picture. The phone got discontinued in 2010, yet that picture is supposed to be, like 14, 15. So it's very odd how that all works. It's like, just take a picture. If he really did, she talks about all the times he slaps her and all that stuff. Take one quick picture of your face and you're gold. Then he loses, because he is what you then he would be that, but he's not, because you have all these thousands. You take a picture of the street leading into the Australia house with the kangaroos, but then you don't show anything that happened in that house where it was like a bloodbath. You don't show a single thing from it at all. And it's like the worst day of your life, the worst night of your life, and you didn't take a single picture. You can't do that. And you can't do what she's doing in a society and hijack the Me Too movement, it's not working, and it actually hurts the movement. It hurts people like her, because now you're inclined to not believe them, right? Now it's actually bad. People have said that she's put the movement back, or she's put the idea of victims back 10, 20, 30 years. She really is, because you can't just say, he did this to me. You need to show something. That's my opinion. Maybe people disagree with that, and that's okay. I'd love to hear your reasoning in the comments. But in my opinion, if you're going to make these huge accusations against somebody, right, in a he said, she said thing, there's really no reason to blacklist and kick out and all that stuff. One side only believe, which is literally what society did, only believe the one. Now, you could argue society only believed the one that was the abuser, in the past, but how you right that wrong is not by switching it. You know what I mean? You don't make it better by saying, well, for so long we just immediately believed the male in the case or whatever. We believed the person that was being accused, and we disbelieved the victim. To make that right is not to reverse it, to just believe the victim. You just, maybe you hear both sides. Then you say, okay, well, let's look at the situation. Let's look at some actual evidence, and then we'll decide. We'll hear you out, just like we'll hear them out. We're not gonna, take your word and say, oh, that's it, they're immediately gone. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna hear both of you. But then, if you're very vocal, which Amber is, well, you better have some evidence, because if you don't have evidence to back it up, then you how easy is it to just say something about your partner and have no proof to back it up? How easy is it to do that? It's insanely easy. And that's the danger with this movement. That's the danger with Amber and what people can kind of take from Amber. It's scary. It's scary. So I went on a big tangent there. Does the jury believe her? God, I hope not. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. And I hope to see you guys on the next video.